Hey, I don't know about you, but I love New Year's resolutions. I love a clean slate, a fresh start. I love the opportunity to look to my future with excitement. I love goals. I love dreams. I love the unknown. But above all, I love the opportunity and the challenge to be better this year than I was last year. Now, look, I know nobody has to wait till New Year's to make that change, right? The best time to start was yesterday. But if we're being honest, most of us love the harder reset that comes with a brand new year. We love looking out and seeing what could be next. On this week's episode, we're taking a look at our goals and how we can make better goals, sustainable goals that will last longer than just 1 year, that will last and apply to our entire life. This week on the To Be Man podcast. What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. Man, I can't believe it. We made it. We've arrived. Welcome to 2024. And also, welcome to the To Be Men podcast, right? Where we come together as men to learn from one another, to challenge one another, and to work together towards being better. Better husbands, better fathers, better brothers, better leaders, better men. If this is your first time with us, thank you for joining us. Thank you for checking out the content. I hope that today's episode and all the episodes leading up to it are substantial to you, that they add something of substance to your life. And if they do, man, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and stay tuned and stay connected to what is happening on the To Be Men community. Well, it's official. We made it, and we are now in 2024. That's wild. I still feel like it was 2009, 5 years ago, and that is not the case. It's now 2024. It's a new year. It's time to make some new resolutions. Look, this time of year is phenomenal. Most of us probably made a ton of resolutions for the new year, things we wanted to change, things we wanted to do differently, things we wanted to do better, right? Because that is our goal. Our goal is to continue to grow and to be better today than we were yesterday. And something about a new year just motivates us and drives us and inspires us to plan for a better future, right? 2024, whatever year it is, starts and we're excited, we're motivated, we hit that countdown, we saw the ball drop, and now we're ready to go and take action. We make resolutions, we make dreams, and we're ready for greatness. But then, a few weeks come and go, maybe a couple months, and suddenly that passion, that drive, that motivation starts to fade away, and those dreams and their goals become to be overshadowed by our day-to-day life. All of a sudden, we realize we have actually quite a bit on our plate already. What in the world were we thinking about doing all this other stuff? That doesn't really matter. Let's focus on what is, not what could be, right? And look, I get it. I get it. Life is busy, right? Life is full just the way it is, with work, with marriage, with children, with friends, with the social life. There's a never-ending list of things to do and people to see. So it's very easy for us to say, yeah, that was great at the beginning of the year, but we have to get back to what matters, which is today. And look, I'm guilty of it myself. I've got goals and dreams and things that I want to accomplish, that I wanted to accomplish in 2023, that I'm still going to be working on in 2024 because, well, because life happened and I got busy and I didn't give those resolutions the attention they needed. One of the greatest lessons that I've learned in the last couple of years that really has helped me get better in this area, that has helped me kind of see more sustainability in my goals and in my dreams and in my resolutions, has been a shift in my mindset. And that shift has shown me the distinction between my goals, my priorities, and my systems. For the longest time, I was going into every single new year making these great goals and these great resolutions and all these things that I wanted to accomplish, but I had absolutely no idea how I was going to do it. Chances are it's probably the same way for you, right? You've probably put together your New Year's resolutions and your goals, and you've gone head first into achieving them, but you've got no real plan, right? What's the quote from the Avengers? What's your plan of attack? I have a plan. Attack. Well, that's great, but you need an actual plan. Look, if you're anything like me, you're thinking, man, I don't need a plan. I'm just gonna go in head first and figure this out. And that was my mindset for the longest time. I said, I'm gonna just hit these goals with everything I've got and I'll make it. And time and time again, I did that and I got nowhere. And I got to the point where I started to hate goals. I started to hate New Year's resolutions. I started to hate planning for anything because I said, well, I never achieve it. I never feel it. Why bother? Why waste my time and my energy trying to be something I'm not? Then a few years ago, I realized three things that again completely shifted my mindset on that. And number one was this: goals are great. Goals are great. Having a target to hit, a milestone to reach, that is a great way to set yourself up for success. But goals alone are never going to take you to the next level. Number two, I learned that your goals need to revolve around the priorities in your life. Priorities are what our life revolves around. So then why would our goals not revolve around those priorities? Right? Goals without priorities are they're a one-off accomplishment, if that, and there's no real connection to what we're doing. And so we kind of just let them fade away. Our goals need priorities. And number three, the last thing I learned was that you need systems in your life that will make it nigh impossible for you to miss the mark. It would make it almost impossible for you to miss your goals, and that the systems need to flow with the priorities of your life. And so I've learned these things and I've applied them to my own New Year's resolutions and my own goals in my own life. And so I want to take some time today to share those with you and dive in deeper into each one of those three different areas and hopefully help you grow and be better this year than you were last year. All right. Number one, goals. Goals are the first step to any sort of life change. Goals are the bullseye to hit, right? The target we're aiming at. They're the end goal of everything we do. See what I did there? That was pretty good. Look, and I'm a firm believer that every single man needs to have goals. Every single man needs to have something to aim for, something to strive after, something to set his eyes on and say, I want that. I'm going to accomplish that. I believe we should all strive to be better and to grow beyond our current state. So as you're thinking through your goals, I want you to take a few things from this episode and apply them to that. All right. First things first, you need to write down your goals. You need to write, and I'm not talking about like, I mean, yeah, I guess a note would work fine. You guys know me. I love to journal and write. So I write them out on paper and I have them written out specifically. Cool. Here's my goal. Because I'm sure you guys have all heard the study that if you write down your goals, you give yourself a 42% chance of a more likelihood that you're going to accomplish them. Let me say that better. If you write your goals, you now have a 42% chance higher probability of accomplishing those goals. That's insane. Just by writing them down. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Of course, you would write your goals down if you realize that it's going to give you a 42% chance to accomplishing them. Now, look, I've mentioned this time and time again, right? Journaling is huge, right? I talk about it pretty much in every single episode because I believe in it. So as you're journaling, which I hope you are, as you're journaling your thoughts, as you're writing down your what happened in your day, what's going on in your life, take time to write out your goals. But don't just write generic goals, right? Don't write bland goals. Don't write just a vague goal, right? You need to write smarter goals. Smarter goals. So, okay, what are smarter goals? Smarter is an acronym of how we build our goals. S, specific, measurable, action oriented, risky, time keyed, exciting, and relevant. Smarter goals. Look, you've probably heard some version of this type of goal writing, whether it's smart, it's smarter, it's whatever one. But for me, this is the one that's worked. And so I want to share it with you guys. And hopefully it helps you the same way that it's helped me as as you're writing out your goals, make sure that they're specific, right? Number one, S, specific. Look, nothing kills momentum like generic, bland, vague goals. Look, don't just say I want to be a stronger man. That's vague. That what does that even mean? Physically, mentally, that's vague. Instead, say I will complete the modern day night project. That's pretty specific. That's something to strive for, right? So specific. The next thing you want to do is measurable. Make sure your goals are measurable. How do you know if you've accomplished your goals? How do you know if you've achieved? If you don't have anything to measure it by, then how do you know if you succeeded in your goal, right? So instead of saying, I want to earn more money, you should say, this year I want to make $10,000 more than I did last year, right? That's measurable. That's something to measure your success by. Specific, measurable, another key aspect of great goals is action oriented. Don't make goals that don't stir you to action, that don't call you to move and to do something, right? Instead, write out goals that call to you and that make you take action. For me, it went from I wanted to be more consistent in posting episodes. Okay, that's fine. What I ended up doing was instead, I want to write, record, edit, and post 2 new podcast episodes every month. Right? There's action in that. I have to write, I have to edit, I have to record, I have to do all of these things, and I have to take action. Specific, measurable, action oriented. Next, they need to be risky. Right? Don't write out goals that keep you in your comfort zone. Nothing thrives and grows in comfort, right? You need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Be willing to dream and make goals that push you, that challenge you, right? Those of you guys that are in sales, you can probably relate to saying, "Well, I want a not risky goal is I want to increase sales by 3%." Nobody's excited about 3%. Instead, say, "You know what? I want to increase sales by 15%." That's risky. That'll light a fire under you. That will push you. Specific, measurable, action oriented, risky. T, you want them to be time keyed. Make sure you have a deadline. Otherwise, you're repeating the goals every single year since well, there's no due date. So if I didn't accomplish it in 2023, that's fine. I'll accomplish it in 2024 or 2025. No, say by this date, by July 2024, I will have accomplished this. Another element is when you're writing out your goals is to make them exciting. You should be fired up about your goals. Make them exciting. Don't make goals and plans that you can really go without achieving that don't really you're like, well, if I do this, great. If not, that's fine. No, instead write goals that make you get up every single morning and that drive you to work. And lastly, you need to make goals that are relevant. All of us are in different seasons of life, and so our goals need to match where we are and where we're going. Our goals need to be relevant to our lives, right? So, again, smarter goals, specific, measurable, action oriented, SMAR, risky, T, time keyed, E, exciting, and R, relevant. Make your goals relevant, make them tie into your priorities. So, number two, priorities. Goals are great, right? They're a great way to grow and accomplish more in life, but goals by themselves are they end up being one-time accomplishments and disconnected from the rest of our lives. That's why to grow beyond just goals, we need to have clear priorities. Priorities are the areas of life that stand out above the rest. They're the areas that we sacrifice for, that we work on, that we hold at a higher regard than anything else. And just like our goals, they're different for each and every single one of us. In my pursuit of growth and development, I've really narrowed down my life to 5 areas, 5 focuses, 5 priorities that dictate my goals, my actions, and my energy. For me, those 5 priorities are my family, my faith, my finances, my fitness, and my future. For you, they might be something else, but for me, it's those 5. And having those priorities has allowed me to shift my focus from trying to do everything to only doing the things that benefit those priorities. My goals all revolve around my priorities and they all add value and strengthen the things that I have decided are important to me. We'll do a later episode down the road about how to define your priorities and maybe even dive into my 5 a little bit more. But for now, let's focus on the idea that prioritizing our lives and building our goals around those priorities. So I've got a couple questions that have helped me define mine, and hopefully they'll help you figure out what are your priorities, right? The first question is, what matters most to you? What do you value above everything? What do you hold at such a high regard? The other question I usually ask is, what's non-negotiable in your life? What's something that you cannot go without, that no matter if you lose everything else, this thing you cannot lose? Another one is, what are you willing to say no to if it means you get to say yes to something else? Sometimes we have so many things in our life that we say yes to all of them, but at some point we have to realize if I'm saying yes to this, I'm saying no to this. And if I value this, then that means I'm going to say no to this instead to say yes to this other thing. I know if you're listening, you're probably confused, but at least my hands are dictating what this I'm talking about. Another question I ask is who do I want to be? You've probably heard me say it on this podcast a couple times, and I've asked you and I've asked myself, who do I want to be? As we're building out our goals and as we're defining our priorities, we need to focus much more on who and a lot less on what. We need to stop focusing on what we want to do and focus more on who we want to be. Your priorities should reflect the kind of man that you want to be. Me, I want to be a faith-filled, family-oriented, financially abundant, physically, mentally, spiritually fit man who leaves a legacy to my children's children's children. So for that, those are my priorities: my family, my faith, my finances, my fitness, and my future. Who do you want to be? What are your priorities? Once you figure those out, then we can move on to number three, your systems. So, number three, systems. Once you've written out your smarter goals and you've identified your priorities, now you need to find the systems that put it all together. Think of it this way, right? If your goals and your priorities are the vehicle that drive the change, that drive the growth in your life, then the systems are the engine that drive that vehicle. Your systems are what lead you to achieve your goals. If the goal is losing weight, then the system is working out, eating right, sleeping better. If the goal is being a better husband, then the system is helping around the house, having date nights, sending flowers, all of these things. If the goal is what we want to do, then the system is how we do it. In his book Atomic Habits, author James Clear talks about the importance of having strong habits and strong systems to achieve your goals. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. But long story short, he talks about the importance of systems and how with the right systems you can accomplish just about anything. So let me put it together for you, right? Like I said, five priorities in my life. One of the five priorities in my life is my fitness. So therefore, a smarter goal that would revolve around that priority would be I will lose 40 pounds of fat and gain 20 pounds of muscle by July 1st. Okay, that's a smarter goal that goes around one of my priorities. So the system to achieve that would be waking up early, going on a run, intermittent fasting, eating a low calorie, high protein diet, training with a trainer, uh, getting my nutrition in order. All of that is what would lead to the accomplishment of the goal and to the living the life that revolves around the priority, right? That's what ties it all together. Now, obviously, each of those steps in and of themselves also need to be a part of my daily life to be sustainable, right? You're not going to be able to build a great system overnight. You have to build up slowly, one day at a time. But if we've learned anything here at To Be Men is that we want to be better tomorrow and today than we were yesterday. So that means that one day at a time, we want to get better. We have to make tiny changes daily to see remarkable results yearly. So there you have it, man. Three tools that we can all use to become better men: goals, priorities, and systems. By themselves, they're all great and they will help you go further than ever, but combined, they're extraordinary and they will take you leaps and bounds ahead of where you are now. I hope this helps you. I hope you use it to build a better life and to become better today than you were yesterday. As always, this has been a blast. I love it. I love hanging out with y'all. I hope you're enjoying it. Again, make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're following me on social media, staying up to date with what's happening, and staying tuned for the next episode. All right, y'all. I'll see you next time.